Argentina win the World Cup in Argentina. Louise Brown becomes the world's first test tube baby. The Who's drummer, Keith Moon, dies. Ian Botham breaks all test match records. The Greatest Showman, MASH, is 10 years old and looking for love. Yeah. Now then, Ramblers, how are you doing? 1978. I'm 10 years old and I like cider and girls. 3 in particular. I'll tell you about them. I do like that. The 3 girls who were in my life in 1978 were, in chronological order, Susie Quatro, Olivia Newton-John, oh yes, particularly in the leather gear at the end. And lastly, slightly more embarrassing when you look back on it, Lena Zavaroni. Ooh, he's making eyes at me. I loved Lena. But looking back again, in retrospect, I loved Lena Zavaroni roughly the same time when I started liking lighter fuel. So forgive me, all right? Don't judge me. And I do need to mention as well, before I go any further, I forgot something in 1977 on the last episode. How could I? The Bat Out of Hell album. One of the world's greatest albums ever, and I completely forgot about it. So Meatloaf, cheers. Brilliant album, 77, but it's 78. Move on. What was happening in the UK, Mash? Thanks for asking. It was an odd one because the government, I believe, when I read up on it the other day, they were trying to help the homeless because the government called it the winter of discount tents. I don't know. Very strange. Do your research. Yeah, it was the winter of discount tents. Don't know. Anyway, in sport, I've got one here. Look, I'm back on my annuals. Ready for this? Let's crack on here down memory lane. So if you look here, this is the Sun Soccer, fucking soccer. It's a football annual. So this is the Sun annual from 1978, but one bloke in particular used to fill our TV screens. Can you check him out? There he is. Look at him, the cheeky chappy. Look at him. Particularly look at that bit there. Yeah. Who was that? He was on every Saturday afternoon with the World of Sport. Dickie Davis. Wow, Dickie Davis. He always looked like he'd come straight from fucking emulsion in his ceiling, didn't he? Because he had a melon streak in his hair. Which, believe it or not, a melon streak, you'd think they'd done that for fashion purposes. No, it's a telltale sign of poliosis. Yeah, and he always looked like a shite, second-hand card fucking dodgy dealer, didn't he? Bizarre. Dickie Davis, yeah, he was good though. So what was happening in football? I'll tell you. Argentina win the World Cup in dictator-ruled Argentina. How did FIFA let that happen, knowing there was a dictator there? Do you think money changed hands? No, not FIFA. And, to make matters worse, who won Miss World that year? Oh, only Miss fucking Argentina. But she was a babe. She was beautiful, so yeah. Out of 1 to 10, I would definitely give her 1, without a doubt. Nottingham Forest won the First Division. Ipswich fucking Town won the FA Cup. Ipswich Town. Liverpool won the European Cup. And Steve Ovett, complete with twatty beard. Not this like designer stubble that I have. But Steve Ovett was the BBC Sports Personality of the Year for running around a track a bit quicker than all the other people. Brilliant. What a way to earn a living. Ian Botham, big old beefy. He was at the court same day as me in the 80s. We'll get to that round about, let me think, probably 84, 85. Good story about Ian Botham and me at court the same day. But Ian Botham made history because he was the first man to score a century and take 8 wickets in one innings of a test match. Pretty impressive, beefy. Do you reckon he was on out? No, not till he moved to Epworth. Bjorn Borg and Martina Navratilova were respective Wimbledon champs. Right, let's get on with these 3 TV themes. These were cracking. Because, like I said, the later the years get, the more vivid the memories are, because I've got consciousness instead of shitting, yelling and dribbling. Yeah, and getting bitty twice a day. So, here's your 3 TV themes. Have a listen to your first one. Second one, piece of stuff. And your third one. You're a geek if you get this. Very difficult. Have a listen. Come on, very difficult. There you go. What else was on the telly in the UK in 1978? Dallas. Never really got into that, to be honest. American shite. There's a lot of people who like this. It's still very, it's got a right cult following. I think that's how you pronounce it. Well, that's how they pronounce it, but I wouldn't, no. Blake 7. Bit of a sci-fi. And then there was Going Straight, which was Ronnie Barker's follow-up to Porridge, and it was shit, to be honest. I was a big fan of Porridge, but Going Straight, I'm going straight, I am straight as an arrow. There's your fucking career. See you later, Ronnie. Ta-da. And you also had Butterflies, which I think was Wendy Craig, but it was written by that peddler of fucking pap, Carla Lane. I think it was one of her first sitcoms, and God, it was shite. Later of Bread fame, obviously, that'll come up, I'm sure. Clopper Castle. If you go down to Clopper Castle, be prepared to stay a while. The bygones and the has-beens always fighting for the oil. Really good TV theme, that. I had listened to it the other day. I even checked out who did it. And it was Rainbow Cottage. Real psychedelic, fucking groovy tune. That was Clopper Castle. The bygones and the has-beens. What else was on? Hazel, who was a Cockney private eye. Interesting fact about Hazel was the series and the book was co-written by none other than Terry Venables. Yeah, the old cheeky chappy, take a backhander at any time you like, ex-England manager. Your big films of the year, the biggest by far, Grease. Is the word. So Grease, yeah. Very good, very good. It shouldn't have been, Grease was good. Grease 2, fucking rubbish. Apart from Michelle Pfeiffer sat on that step ladder. In the bank. Superman. Yeah. Superman, 1978. And one of the best ones for me was Every Which Way But Lose, with Clint Eastwood and his sidekick, the old orangutan, Clyde. Right Turn Clyde. Great film. Funny as. What was happening in music, I hear you say? I'll tell you after I've had a quick slurp. War of the Worlds album was released. Wow! Brilliant. I'm going to tell you briefly why the War of the Worlds really meant an awful lot to me. Because it was my last year at junior school, I think, and I was shit at school. I just wasn't interested. I had learned everything there was to know before I even went there. And I was unteachable. I still am, I think, because I don't know, they just teach you to be a non-thinking fucking pleb. And I just want into that. But one teacher, one lesson out of my all the weeks I went to school over the years. Oh yeah, numerically work that out. It was the only lesson that I ever remember, and I'll paint the picture for you. Instead of doing, I can't remember what class it was, probably English or something, because our teacher, Keith Leedham, always in shit tracksuit, nondescript fucking tracksuit, 2 stripes, that kind of wank, you know what I mean? But he was a good bloke, he was a bit of a hippie at heart. So instead of teaching what he should have done that day, he brought a little portable record player in. And he had an album under his arm. And he says, right, he went around every person in the class and he gave us an A4 sheet of paper. And he says, right, what I want you to do, we're going to listen to this album and just describe to me what you think, what images it's throwing up in your head. And it was just like, fucking wow, really? How good is that? And it was great because at the end of the lesson, he took everybody's bit of paper and nobody's imagery that they'd written down was any better than anybody else's. We were all on the same level for the first time in any lesson ever. What you described on your piece of paper was as worthy as what somebody else did. Yeah. And it was just fucking great. So Keith Leedham, still around is Keith, still lives at Winterton. I salute you, sir. Top bloke. Hope you've got decent tracking now. But thanks, Keith. Grease, as I mentioned, Grease is the word, was the biggest selling album of the year. And there were some bloody top albums that year. But I like this. Rolling Stones guitarist Keith Richards pleaded guilty to a charge of possessing heroin in Toronto, Canada. So they gave him a suspended 1-year sentence on the understanding that he would play a charity concert for the blind. So you're sat there thinking, you fucking what? So you're letting me off with having a lot of heroin, long as I go play my guitar to a lot of fucking people who can't see me. Result, he's only got to teach a couple of riffs to somebody like fucking Brown Sugar and Honky Tonk Woman. He can put his feet up, jack up at home and send somebody else. They'd be none the wiser. What was he like? Don't know, I couldn't see him. So yeah, Keith Richards. Who won Eurovision? Oh, that famous, long-standing European country, Israel. I don't know. I don't make the rules. I just break them. Boney M were Christmas #1 with Mary's Boy Child. Still like them, you know, they're all right. And impressively, Kate Bush was the first female solo performer to reach #1 with the song that she had both written and performed, with Wuthering Heights. If you've never heard that, don't bother. She's a fucking whiny cunt. Unbelievable. I just dropped the C-bomb. Sorry, get your money on the way out. Right, I'm going to have a quick break, nip in and get another tinny, and I shall be back. Alright, so enjoy this song, and I mentioned the War of the Worlds, so this is me singing a beautiful tune called Forever Autumn. Quite a sad number, originally from Justin Hayward, and absolutely ruined by Marty Pellow in the live stage musical. Awful. Catch you again in a minute. Ta-da!
Summer sun is fading as the year grows old, and darker days are drawing near. The winter watch the birds fly south across the autumn skies. One by one they disappear. I wish that I was flying with them. Now you're not here. Like the sun through the trees, you came to love me. Like a leaf on a breeze, you blew away. Through autumn's golden gown, we used to kick our way. You always loved this time of year. Those fallen leaves lie undisturbed now. Now you're not here. Now you're not here. Now you're not here. Like the sun through the trees, you came to love me. Like a leaf on a breeze, you blew away. Gentle tear falls softly from my weary eye. Sip to hide a lonely tear. My life will be forever autumn. Now you're not here. 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 Now you're not here.
3, 2, 1, back in the room. Yeah, did you enjoy that? 'Cause you're not here. Brilliant tune. Right, 78. What else was happening around the world? Bizarrely, Charlie Chaplin's coffin got dug up and stolen. Who the fuck does that? From the cemetery in Switzerland, and was found 11 weeks later within a mile of his home. Bizarre. October the 25th, very important date. A ceremony marks the completion of Liverpool's cathedral. Now, the foundation stone was laid in 1904, so it took 74 fucking years to finish it, and within 24 hours of completion, it became the world's first eco-friendly religious building because it was fucking completely unleaded. They love a good tickle over there, don't they? Them fucking cheeky scousers. Yeah, took the roof off. What cars were around in the UK in 78? The Vauxhall Carlton. If you were unfortunate enough to have the filth chasing after you, they were in a Granada Consul. Woo! Bike wankers. Ing, 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 ing. Hey, they had got pissed off with just, annoying everybody around town. They thought, I want to go around the world and fucking annoy people. So they jumped aboard a BMW R65 Tourer, complete with panniers. Yeah, you still see quite a lot of them about, albeit the modern versions. UK prices always amaze me. Gallon of petrol was 78 pence. It was getting closer and closer to the quid mark. Loaf of bread, 28 pence. A 22-inch Bush colour TV with remote and a stand was a staggering £340 fucking pounds. This will be why everybody used to work, because that was way over your weekly wages, as I'll mention in a minute. This is why knobbers like Rumbelows used to rent your fucking telly off them. Fags, 57 pence. And a pint of ale, 40 pence. Your average weekly wage for men was £84. And your average weekly wage for women was £50. Now, there's a £34 discrepancy there, but before you start fucking whining, that 34 quid difference was made up by, generally, the man of the house, because he would treat his no-tail, his wife or his partner or whatever, he'd treat her to say, I don't know, a twin tub or a toaster or another female-related domestic appliance. So I think, all things considered, they were pretty equal across the board, weren't they? Here's a couple of firsts for you. The first ever Laserdisc. The first ever world's test tube baby, mentioned at the top of the hour in the news. So, Louise Brown, born in all places, Oldham. I mean, is that a fucking joke? Because generally that is the function of a test tube, to hold shit, isn't it? Yeah. But Louise, bless her, she's still around. She went on to marry a nightclub bouncer. Yeah, so at least she set her stall quite high. She had 2 sons, so all good. But I like to think at some point, if she had parents who got a bit of a sense of humour, surely at some point round about, I don't fucking know, 1981, 82, that have got her a chemistry set for Christmas. You just fucking would, wouldn't you? The first ever nudist beach in the UK was opened in Hastings. Ben & Jerry's ice cream was invented. Fashion, turn to the left. Fashion was blazers, sweaters, and denim separate. Ah, no! Why would you? Because that's just going to bring on the double D, innit? The massive fashion faux pas, double denim, favoured by Shaky and the Hoff, and wankers like that. Wrong. The must-have Christmas toys. Never played this one. Hungry Hippos. It just looked a bit shit, I'll be honest. It was hardly Crossfire or any of that, was it? So yeah, Hungry Hippos was the biggest seller. Connect 4. Another fucking awful game where somebody thinks they're better than you for getting 4 things in a row quicker than you just because you fucking give up on it after the 3rd one. Shit game. And lastly, and most fucking annoying out of them all, Speak and Spell. Oh, what a memory that conjures up. Maybe 10, 15 years ago, I was on a plane, I think it was to Mexico. It was somewhat like that. Jolly for the year. And the kid in front of me just must have been the thickest fuck ever to give a speak and spell to. So you've got a 10 or 12 hour flight. And she was trying to spell train for 2 fucking hours. Spell? It was like, you know, because the voice on it is like Stephen Hawkins, isn't it? Spell train. And the kid was going, T-L, wrong, spell train. 2 fucking hours. In the end, I leant over and I went, any chance I could spell that for you, please? Fucking hell, it boiled my piss. So yeah, speak and spell. Do one. F-O. Easy as. Births and deaths. I did this to highlight the travesty again of absolute legends been replaced by fucktards. And this year is no exception to that rule. So, your big deaths for me. You had Keith Moon, fucking legend. Sandy Denny, superb singer. And you had Adolf Dassler, not to be mistaken with Adolf Hitler, who died 3 years later in 1981 in Argentina, where he relocated to and got shielded. But, you know, that's a conspiracy, isn't it? We're not here for that. Do your research. No, Adolf Dassler was the founder of Adidas. Yeah. Did you notice that, what I said there? Yeah, Adidas. Not fucking Adidas. Adidas. Okay. But when I look back, he was a bit of a wrong was old Adolf Dassler. Maybe his first name should have been a giveaway, because he also designed the SS jackboots, and he was a member of the fucking Nazi party. Wow. So there you go. You've got Keith Moon, Adolf Dassler, and Sandy Denny. However can we replace those irreplaceable 3? I'll tell you who we're going to send in. Firstly, James Oxygen fucking Thief Corden. What a twat. No time for him at all. Katie, why does she even fucking exist? Price. And Ricky, the media gimp, Wilson. Yeah, I'll predict a fucking right if I meet you. So yeah, there you go. That highlights how unfair that is. You get rid of 3 at the top of the game and bring in them fucking idiots. Right, let's get on with these 3 TV things. Bit sweary Mary today. That's because I'm 10 and I can fucking do what I want. Alright. So your first TV theme was Cheggers Plays Pop. Yeah, you'll remember that. And I do like to look at the format of how they describe these particular programs. This was the format as explained, I think, on Wikipedia or some bollocks like that. Cheggers Plays Pop. Physical and mental challenges by 2 teams from different schools, interspersed with studio performance from contemporary pop acts of the day. Yeah, I do remember it very well. And it was shit. Move on. Grange Hill. In the first month of Grange Hill, because it was a massive deal, my mum banned me from watching it, stating it was a bad influence. Yeah, get that? Okay. Grange Hill was a bad influence on me, but I was still allowed to hang around with Stanley, Sid, Jace, Pete, and them lot. But Grange Hill was a bad influence. Fucking hell. Thick as fuck, mum. If you're watching this, mum, you got that one absolutely fucking wrong. Some of the characters notables from Grange Hill of that first couple of series. Tucker Jenkins, latterly of Tucker's Luck, which never really took off. He was a bit of a cheeky, likeable chappy. Yeah. Gripper Stebson, the school bully. Fuck me. He wouldn't have lasted one fucking lesson at Winterton, I'll tell you. Then you had Roland. I like you, Roland. Roland basically just liked fucking food. he really liked crisps. I've got a mate who is absolute double. A mate of mine, Graham Alcock, yeah, he looks he looks like Roland now, although Graham's 55. Yeah, it's strange how he puts nearly a stone on for every year that he lives, does our Graham. Our Graham. Who else was in it? Zamo, Britain's youngest junkie. Oh, no, I'm all right. I just got a touch of flu today. Zamo. So remember, kids, when it comes to drugs, just say no. Unless they're free and you're on a bender down in Torquay for the weekend, in which they fucking get it down your neck. And your third one was a classic. It was a classic. It was called Logan's Run. And it was set in a dystopian future society where, on reaching the age of 30, you get the death sentence. Now, I'm not massive on sci-fi, as I've explained, but I think as a concept, 30 maybe is a little bit low, but not too far out of the realms of fantasy. I think maybe 70. But not to kill him, but you should have at least your fucking driving licence took off you. And then I can get parked up at the range, can't I? On a Wednesday, when you want to go out for a coffee and it's like a cake. Fuck's sake. And then maybe, as soon as you've had your driving licence took off you, pop them on a bus, and anybody over 70 has to fuck off to live in France. Because frankly, France deserves you. Wow. So what have we learnt? 1978. Cracking year. I'm tired now because and even now I'm only 10. My legs hurt because I've been running all day in my fast new trainers. So keep subscribing, pass it on to your mates, and once again, I do apologise because it's difficult in this day and age. I get it. You're not allowed to say things. You're not allowed to do things. You're not allowed to even fucking think things. So, from the bottom of my heart, truly, truly, if you have been offended at anything, fuck off. Lighters!